And very good evening to all of you. There was this gentleman who had taken a small child, a toddler, into the park. But that child was misbehaving very badly. He was getting into fights. He was trying to obstruct people. He was getting impatient. He was running
एक
around
मिनट
where he is
वो
not
कुछ
supposed to
कुछ
run.
करिए
And yeah, again, we are getting disturbance. Please request them to mute. Thank you. So there was this little fellow run.
So you got muted.
Yes. Now you can hear me? Okay, right. So I was talking about this gentleman who took his little child into the park, but that child was really misbehaving very badly. Very impatient, running around, not staying in one place, getting into arguments with people, losing his temper, etc. People saw the father going slowly behind the child, restraining him, trying to guide him, and in a very soft tone, saying, Rahul, should not lose your temper, Rahul. Rahul should have little more patience, Rahul. Rahul, you cannot hit anybody, Rahul. Rahul, you should be in control of yourself, Rahul. You should not do things like this, Rahul. People were amazed. They said, this child is misbehaving so badly. And the way you are talking to him, any other father would have given him one whack or would have, shouted at him. And you are talking to him so softly. The father said, Rahul is not my child's name. Rahul is my name. Now that is emotional resilience. We face difficult situations almost on a daily basis. We come across people who are unreasonable. We have people who are creating disturbance for us. We have situations which are not at all to our liking. What do we do under these circumstances? How do we behave in these circumstances? Everything depends on our emotions. So let's start with understanding what are emotions. Now you may say, what a silly thing. And don't you think we know what are emotions? Yes, you do. But have you really given serious thought and have you really analyzed and put into practice? Let's accept whatever studies you have done, whether you and went up to schooling, whether you went to college, whether you went to post graduation, whether you went to any studies, rigorous studies, emotions was not taught to you. Do you remember a subject called emotions? Forget about emotion resilience, even understanding emotions. For some reason, nobody teaches that to us. Why? Because we take it for granted that everybody knows what it is and everybody can manage it. No, that's not true. So, you must excuse me, those of you who are experts in this field, that I will run you through an overview, an understanding of emotions, starting with the fact that we have thoughts in our mind 24 by 7. Even when we are sleeping, we are thinking. In fact, medical science has shown that even if you are in a coma or you are under anesthesia, your thought process doesn't stop. It's just that it doesn't connect to the body. But thinking goes on 24 by 7. Now, these thoughts lead to what we may call as feelings or emotions. Again, feelings and emotions are spoken in a sort of, interchanging. You say feelings, you say emotions, but they're not exactly the same because feelings can be both mental and physical. I can be feeling happy, sad, angry, depressed, jealous. These are mental feelings. I can be feeling cold. I can be feeling sleepy. I can be feeling hungry. These are physical feelings. On the other hand, emotions exclusively refer to mental feelings. So all emotions are feelings, but all feelings are not emotions. Now, what happens is English is such a funny language. The Britishers have left their legacy behind and they have made so many things confusing. If you were to speak in an Indian language about emotions, you would say in Kannada, bhavnegalu. In Hindi, bhavnae. Very clear. The moment I say bhavnegalu or I say bhavnae, everybody understands what I'm talking about. But have you heard anybody saying, what are you emoting right now? They'll say, what's wrong with you? So what do you have to do? You have to ask, how are you feeling right now? And if that person turns around and tells you, I'm feeling hungry, what can you do about it? You're not going to provide him with food. But his answer is not wrong because you asked him feeling and he can refer to physical feelings. So that why I'm giving this explanation is to understand that when we talk about emotions, we don't use the word emotions as freely. We use the word feelings. But in day-to-day language, in human behavior, in relationships, in family, in all these things, when we are using the word feeling, let us understand that we are actually talking about the word emotions. That is, we are referring to the mental feelings and not to the physical feelings. Okay. So that is what emotions is all about. Now, thoughts lead to feelings, stroke emotions. Depending on what I am thinking, that emotion comes into my mind. I am thinking about my grandmother who lives far away in a village or wherever, and she's not keeping good health. She's very old. So, what happens? I get a feeling of sadness, feeling of loneliness, even maybe possibly a feeling of regret. I can't take care of her. She looked after me so much when I was a baby. Today, I'm not in a position to take care because I have to be here with my family in the city. I can't go and live there, and she refuses to come here. So, any of these emotions can arise the moment I think about my grandmother. The same way, my thought process changes. I think about that nasty neighbor who keeps shouting at everybody for no rhyme or reason. And suddenly I recall that today also, she made a fuss about some things which was absolutely meaningless. So, what happens? My emotion changes. My emotion moves on to irritation, anger, whatever. Then I think of my sister's baby. My sister has a small baby and she's so cute. The moment my thought goes to my sister's baby, the emotion changes again. So, what happens with emotions is they are a consequence of our thoughts. And they are always momentary. They can change in a matter of seconds from sadness to grandmother to irritation of the neighbor to love for the baby. Within a minute, I can go through all these emotions. Now, why are emotions so important? Because all our actions depend on our emotions. What I am feeling at this point determines what action I will take. Somebody comes and says something nasty to me. I get angry. I get irritated. I shout back. If I look at him and say, poor fellow, he doesn't know what he's talking about, why should I come down to his level and interact with him? So my emotion is calmness, serenity. I will probably smile, nod at him, and say, okay, that's how you feel. We'll catch up later. Bye bye. So, as you know, as you should know rather, all our emotions govern our actions. Whatever action any person takes, that determines the action that the person is going to take. Now, when one person does a particular action, what happens to the other person who is receiving his actions? He gets a thought in his mind, which leads to an emotion, which leads to a reaction. So, action, reaction is the beginning of a relationship. I say something very nice, complimentary, praising somebody. That person acknowledges it and says, yes, I'd like to be this person's friend. So a relationship starts on a positive note. I say something nasty, critical, that person also gets upset, and the person responds in a negative manner. A negative relationship starts. From that time onwards, he wants to get back at me because I have unnecessarily provoked him. So this is how relationship build. And whether we like it or not, relationships are the one single factor that control our peace of mind, our happiness, our serenity, our quality of life, I would say, more than any other single factor. They say no, that you can go out of the house, face the whole world, face all types of challenges. If you have a loving, caring home and family to come back to, you can face anything, come back, and again unwind. On the other hand, if my close relationships are not good, if I come back at the end of the day and I get into arguments with my family members, finished. My whole day is gone bad. That is how it works. In fact, I would define a very, very oversimplistic definition of mental health as peace within yourself and harmony with your important people. If I am at peace within myself and at the same time I am in harmony with the people who are most important, my beloved, my loved ones, my near and dear, then my mental health is good. And without mental health, nothing moves. When we talk about emotional resilience, it is directly linked to my mental health. If my mental health is good, I can face anything. I can analyze this person is being nasty to me, this person is shouting at me, this person has cheated me. I can accept it and say, yes, this is how life is. I can't expect everybody to be honest or to be nice to me. So I have to take it. I have to accept it the way things are going. That is how all these things happen. So this, having given you this, background, let me also tell you that while emotions arise from within, so I have no control over them. I don't decide that I am going to be angry now or I am going to be happy now. That's not in my control. It's something impulsive which comes from within. But what is in my control is to be able to firstly identify my emotions and secondly to manage my emotions. If I can identify and manage emotions as they keep coming, that is what I would define as emotional resilience. And that is what determines my actions, and that is what determines my relationships. And that is what, in turn, determines my quality of life. So let's go into the practical aspects. And before that, I have my colleague Kanaka with me. She has been contributing a lot to a lot of these things that we have been doing. Let's hear Kanaka and then I will proceed.
Okay. So Ali was talking about emotion. So we have a small unconventional learning center, Gurukul. So there are many children. So today morning, there was a child who just kept walking silently. Usually they see around wish good morning. So when I went and spoke like, hi, how are you? He's like, I'm good. Okay. Okay, good. Is there something wrong? Nothing, ma'am. All good. I asked, you don't look fine. You look like little sad and you're thinking a lot. Is there something that you want to talk? No, ma'am, nothing. I am good. I told, is there something that has hurt you, or you're there is so much of confusion in your face? Yes, ma'am. Today morning, I showed my parents yesterday test marks. I was actually happy that I got good marks, but dad is not fine. I told, is dad upset that you have got less marks? Dad is not upset, but he is not telling me that he's not appreciating me. So, if we can help them to verbalize the emotions and help them how we can express other emotions, that way they will also be able to take the emotions and label it. Miss Jennifer will put in the chat box about the emoji cards where helping the children about happiness. So, are you feeling happy that you were able to do better than last time? Was your dad actually angry, or was your dad sad that you didn't score up to his expectations? So if we can help them relate with simple examples, maybe showing this emojis, they will be able to pick up because their face expresses a lot. Now, with the face expression, if we can help them with the words, they will feel like, I'm understood. So when I said that, are you feeling sad or upset? He was like, yes, he is feeling sad, but he's still confused. So I asked him, are you feeling confused? So he said, yes, I'm confused about what my dad is thinking about me. So that way we can help them to have conversations and maybe help them to channelize their thoughts as well.
Right. So let me take on from there. Forget about small children or children with special needs. Don't you see most of the people, adults, and all these people, when you ask them, how are you today? What are you feeling? I'm good. Whether you are good or not, I should decide. No, you can't decide that you are good or bad. But people have this habit of saying, I'm good. Sometimes they say, I'm fine. I'm okay. You know what we are doing? We are neglecting identification of emotions and taking a shortcut. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for what? I am asking you, how are you feeling? And you have not told me. So, like I said, the first step towards getting control of your emotions, developing emotional resilience, that is the ability to manage, the ability to be in control over my emotions, which will determine my actions, starts with identification. I tell parents, whenever a child comes to you with any issue, the child may come and say, Aditya took away my ball. What do we normally do? We go into problem solving. Why did you take a ball to this thing? Go and tell the teacher that this happened. It's okay, let him also play with the ball. Now, what did that child come to you for? The child came to you for validation of my feelings. So, if you can turn around and say, oh, Aditya took away your ball, is it? Is that making you feel sad? Are you feeling angry with Aditya? Try out different emotions. Help him to identify, like how Kanaka just now showed you the chart. Now, unless and until you identify your own emotions, you cannot proceed. Labeling your emotions, being very clear. For example, being angry and being irritated are two different things. Being angry and being in a rage are two different things. Being angry and being revengeful are two different things. So, what happens is that unless and until we develop the habit of identifying specific emotions, how many emotions are there? Depends on your vocabulary. A person who, for example, does not know English very well may say happy, sad, angry, and stop. But a person who's got a good command over English, as I said, he will say irritated, jealous, nasty, rage. He'll go on expanding. Same thing in any language. It doesn't necessarily have to be English. In your home, whatever language you speak, encourage family members and particularly children to develop a vocabulary of emotions. Even hypothetical situations. What do you do when you want to go out and play and it is raining? What do you feel? What are the feelings? What are the emotions that go through your mind? You were just ready, you had changed and you had picked up your balls and everything, and you wanted to go out, and suddenly it started raining. So, what were your emotions? If the child cannot identify, help the child identify. Did you feel disappointed? Yeah, I felt disappointed. Did you feel angry? Yes. Angry with whom? Angry with the clouds. Angry with God. Why does he have to send rain at this time? Now, here again, we make a very fundamental mistake. Emotions are never good and bad. So, if the child says, I am angry with God, we immediately jump and say, don't say that. How can you say it? Okay, you don't want me to say it, I will not say it. But the anger still remains. And what have you done? You have denied me the opportunity to even express my feelings. So I'm going to internalize and get it out. Haven't you seen people saying, if a little one comes and says, I'm so angry, my brother, he took away my toy. I don't like Anna. I wish he was dead. How can you say like that about your own elder brother? Shut up. But what was he saying? When he said, I wish he was dead, what he was trying to say is that because he is there, he takes away my toys. If he was not there, I would have been able to play with my toys. Help him to identify those particular, emotions. That's all it needs. Because if you suppress emotions, if you say, you cannot be angry with your brother, he's your elder brother. Okay, I won't be angry. But when he is not looking, I will also take away his toy and hide it. So you see how he is getting into wrong actions because he could not identify his emotions. Once he identifies, talk about what are you going to do about it. So the child came and said, Aditya took away my ball. Identify all possible emotions. You're feeling sad because you can't play with your ball. You're feeling angry with Aditya. Fine, yes, I can understand that you are angry with Aditya. Whatever it is. After identifying, then ask what are the alternatives available? What is it that you can do? And what is it that you should not do? Let's say he's so angry, he says, I want to go and hit him. Again, help to build his emotional resilience by saying, yes, right now you're so angry with him that you feel like hitting him. But what will be the consequence of hitting him? He's bigger than you. He will hit you back. He will take away the ball and he'll not give it to you. So is that a good option? Do you think you should do that? You think it over. I'm not going to tell you. Now he uses his emotions And he learns how to manage his emotions and takes a decision. No, I will not hit him. I want some other way. Now start exploring. The more you can explore different actions, the more the emotion, gets widened up. I can go and request him to give it to me. I can get another ball and say, okay, we will play with these two balls. I can go to another friend and say, I want to play with you, but the ball is with Aditya. Can you get the ball? Then both of us will play. So you start exploring different options. Whenever a human being, be it a child, be it an adult, whenever a human being feels that I have choices, the person is in greater control over his emotions. When does a person become very, very trapped, helpless? If a person feels there are no alternatives, if a person lands up in what we refer to as the TINA syndrome, TINA, it's an acronym for there is no alternative, TINA. If a person goes into that mental state where the person thinks that there is no alternative, then what happens is the person starts getting desperate. The person starts thinking of doing things which are not advisable. Person gets frustrated. The person takes impulsive actions. But on the other hand, the moment the person feels there are options, even when you're trying to discipline a child, for example, if you can manage your own emotions, you're getting very angry because you're telling this child to do his homework or to wash his hands or whatever you're telling, and the child is not listening to you. One way is to lose your temper, shout, scream, force the person to do what they want. Remember that forced compliance always has long-term repercussions, be it a child, be it an adult. When I force somebody to do something and the person feels that you have greater authority, I cannot fight you, I cannot resist you, there'll be a little child who will be playing with his toys spread all over the place. Mummy comes and says, don't spread these things out and this and that. People can't even walk properly and this and that. You do one thing, when you want to play with all this, huge bunch of toys, do it on Sundays. The child takes it as the gospel truth because the parent has said it. Fine. You've told me Sunday, I will not play. He puts it away. Sunday comes. And daddy's boss decides to visit. He gives a call saying, I'm coming. Immediately, everybody is alert. Oh, he's coming. Come on, let's clean up this place. Let us sort this out. Let us make some snacks. And the child says, I want to spread my toys and play. And mommy says, no. Daddy's boss is coming. You can't spread out these things. Now, you know what happens in the mind of the child? Firstly, you had promised that I can play on Sunday. You're going back on your word. I don't trust you. I don't like you. You're not a nice person. You say things, but you don't live up to it. But I have no choice because I'm your child, no? If daddy doesn't like his boss, he can resign and go to some other company. I can't resign from being your son, no, unfortunately. I'm stuck with you till I grow up. No choices. Secondly, why does daddy's boss want to come here? Doesn't he have a home of his own? On a Sunday, why does he want to come to my house? This is my house. I'm not going into his house. Thirdly, if he's coming, why can't he and daddy sit in the balcony and talk? I will play with my toys here. Why is he so important that he has to take over the space which belongs to my toys. When this things happens, the child feels that Tina syndrome. I have no choice. So there is forced compliance. The child has to pick up his toys and go away. He is grumpy, but he cannot do anything about it. Now, this goes on and on and on. We have got forced compliance. The child is disciplined. The child is following your instructions. But is he happy doing it? No. So, what happens to that simmering discontent? The child starts growing up and grows up and grows up. Till one fine day, when mummy is scolding him and saying, do this, or you see what I'll do, he suddenly realizes that he has become taller than mummy. So he looks down like this at mummy and says, if I don't listen to you, what will you do? And mummy looks up like this at this big hulk of a fellow and says, what will I do to him? What can I do to him? And that is when he takes over. And people get so upset when children come to adolescence and they say, look at him. He used to be so sweet. He used to be so obedient. He used to be so nice. But now look at him. And they say, who is responsible for it? His friends, they are bad company. His school, they don't teach anything there. Media, that spoils the children. Pass the buck on everybody else except myself. Whereas actually I am the one who's responsible because I suppressed his emotions. When he asked me, why does daddy's boss have to come here? I am very irritated and upset over it. You did not allow his emotions to come out. There's a very interesting quote. People say that small children are like puppy dogs. You do anything to them, they keep running back to you, wagging their tail. You even hit him, you deprive him of food. He will whine for a little while, again he'll come running back to you. For anything and everything, the puppy keeps coming back to you. When a child goes from being a child into an adolescent, he turns into a cat. Now he sits in one place and says, you call me, I'm not coming. You want to pet me, you come here, I'll be sitting here. You want to feed me? Okay, I will allow you to feed me. That is the change that comes in. The very interesting quote which says that if you get a dog, a puppy, even a stray puppy from the road, clean him up, look after him, give him security, give him food, give him love and affection, that puppy looks up at you and says, you are doing so much for me. You're giving me so much. You must be God. That's what the puppy feels. You do the same thing to a kitten. You get the kitten, look after it, take care of it, feed it. The kitten says, this person is looking after me so much, is fulfilling all my needs. I must be God. That's what happens. And primarily that happens because at the emotional level, when the child wanted to have responses, when the child wanted to understand what the feelings are, we did not do it, right, Tanaka?
Yes. So here is one example. So now January now exams are coming up. So we are giving worksheets to the children. So and we think that they'll be able to do. When we give them, they are actually looking at faces, what kind of reaction is coming. Okay, and after that, once the paper is done, there again, when we are trying, they look at the reactions. Okay, now madam is going to scold me because the expression on my face gives them the hint, and that time they start trying to build whether should I react, should I talk, should I not talk, should I make a sad face so that my teacher will not scold me if I have not done well. They'll keep a sad face like the puppy face so that like, oh, you papa know how to scold this child. But at times, so this one child, whenever he was not doing well, I am not able to do well. What is so wrong with you? So many times we have been explaining and so much of revisions are done. What's wrong? And the child is always silent and just looks down, doesn't want to talk, and that somewhere it has become a defense mechanism also, that so in that way the teacher will scold and go away. But this was not helping either the child or us. So then we're like, okay, now in this worksheet, there are some few parts that you have done so well, and you're able to understand. There is some part which maybe you're not able to understand. Can we work through? So it took time. He was actually puzzled, like, is the teacher really trying to ask me whether to find out how much I know or how much I know? There was some type of doubt. So for next 2, 3 worksheets, is like there are some few parts you've been able to understand better than last time. I think you're feeling good that you're feeling happy that you were able to do better, good, no, majority of the worksheet. So there are few parts where you need help. Can we work through? Then the child looked up. After a few minutes, okay, ma'am, is all that came. Then like, I will sit through whenever there is a worksheet and there are some parts which you can't do. Can we work through? Then after a certain time, he's like, yeah, we can work through, but then maybe after a few more sessions, he's like, ma'am, I will need more help with certain parts of the portion so that I will revise better. So at times it's our reaction, they start trying to give responses rather than what they want to tell. So even our reactions is something very important when we are talking to children.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Now let's take a real life situation which can happen at any time. People criticize you. People say something bad to you. People provoke you. People are unreasonable with you. And you feel like hitting out. Not physically hitting out, but giving it back, as we say. That's our first impulsive reaction. But remember, a person who is emotionally resilient does not react. They respond. And how can you respond when somebody is irritating you so badly? When somebody is being so nasty to you? You know the quote which says, count to 10. In 10 seconds, your emotion, your mood changes. If right now I were to respond, I would say the most horrible things to this person in reaction. But 10 seconds later, I will give a much more balanced reply. Now, what do we mean by count to 10? This person is saying nasty things to me. And am I supposed to look at him and say 1, 2, 3, 4? No. Gain 10 seconds. Tell the person, 1 second, I just need a glass of water. Go to the bottle, leisurely pour water into the glass, drink that glass, put it back in the correct place, come back, and then reply to what the person has said. That itself will ensure that your emotion will be in much better control than if you had reacted and given back. That is about something which is momentary. Somebody is saying something to you. What do you do when somebody is hurting you very badly? Somebody is cheating you or somebody has done something horrible to you. What you need to do is sleep over it. It is a proven fact that instead of now doing what has to be done, I feel so angry with this person, I want to go to the advocate and tell him, file a case against him and do this, or I want to resign from this job or whatever it is. When I'm feeling that much charged up and that much upset, if I tell myself between today and tomorrow, no great change is going to come in. So what I will do is, I have decided that I'm going to file the case or I'm going to resign the job, but I will not do it today. I will do it tomorrow. Let 24 hours pass by. Sleep over it. Even if you don't get sleep, even if you're tossing and turning because you're so angry or upset, doesn't matter. The next day, when a new dawn comes, when the sun is shining brightly, then you ask yourself, what is it that I really want to do? You'll be amazed at how much control you have gained over your emotions and thereby how much control you have gained over your actions. No, instead of filing a case, I will go and talk to that elderly senior person and ask him to mediate and try and settle it. Or no, instead of resigning my job, I will start looking for other jobs. I'll find out what are the alternative jobs available. The moment I know that I'm getting a better job, that is when I will quit. So these are so simple, but you have to drill it into yourself so that when the situation arises, it should become automatic, whether it is the count to 10 technique or whether it is sleeping over it or whatever it is. The third way of dealing with a situation where your emotions are likely to go out of control is to throw the ball back at the person. The person who's criticizing you, the person who's saying bad things about you, or the person who has cheated you, turn back and ask for an explanation. Now, I'm not very clear about what you were saying. Can you elaborate further? Now, this person has been nasty to you. He's saying horrible things to you. But if you can, for that few seconds, resist the temptation to shout back at him or say something nasty to him and just put the ball in his court. Can you explain why you were so angry about this, which I'm supposed to have done? You'll be amazed how many people calm down just because they have to, put logic to their anger. They can't do it and therefore they calm down. No, it's not that I am shouting at you. I got angry because of this, but if you do that, that's it. 50% of your problem is solved. And how was it solved? By being in control of your emotions. That was the key factor. If I have not developed emotional resilience, if I do not have control over my emotions, things can only keep going bad and bad and bad. So it takes a lot of practice. It's easy for me to sit here and say, do this, do that. But when you actually have to face the situation, it's not that easy. You say, how do I do it? I'll give you an example. There was this amazing person called Stephen Covey who wrote fantastic things about, 7 habits of highly effective people and all those things. And he came out with a number of things. One of his theories was what is known as the 90-10 philosophy. He said, you do not have control over 10% of the things that happen to you, but you have control over 90% of the things that happen to you. He gives a beautiful example. You're getting ready to go to office. You've just ironed your new dress and put it on because today is an important day and you have to go and do some very important work. You're sitting and having a cup of coffee. Your little child comes running and spills that coffee all over your dress. Now, you could not control that. It's a small child running. Any child can, cause that little mistake. But how you react to it determines how the day goes. He explains in a very nice situation. He says, you shout at the child, you scream, and you say, what is this? My new dresses, blah, blah, now I have to wear a dress, I have to iron it again, da, da, da. And then you don't stop at that. You turn to your spouse and say, why can't you control the child? What are you doing the whole day sitting over here? And then by the time you iron your new dress and you come down, you find that the child is crying and the school bus is gone. Now you have no choice. You have to drop the child to school. So now you're in a hurry, you're speeding, and the policeman catches you and fines you. You're even more angry now. You drop the child in school and She doesn't even look at you. She just jumps off the vehicle and runs off. Look at this horrible kid. I drove her all the way to school and she didn't even smile at me or say thank you to me. I'm getting even more angry. And then I reach office and realize I've left my laptop at home. That's it. The day has gone horrible. Somehow you pull through the day and you say, let me complete and go back home. But the moment you reach home, you realize that your spouse and your child are happily playing with each other, but they don't want you because you were nasty to them in the morning. Now, even the evening is gone. Then Stephen Covey says, rewind and replay this scenario. The child spills the coffee over your dress. You look at the child and say, you know what you've done? Because of this, now I have to iron a new dress and wear it, and I'm going to get late. Can you be more careful next time, beta? The child smiles. Child says sorry. And the child picks up her bag and goes into the bus. And you get up, just change the dress, pick up your laptop, and go, right? Now, whenever such a thing is told, most people say, oh, Stephen Covey, some philosopher sitting somewhere, very easy for him to give bhashan like this. But if I am in a hurry to go, I have ironed my dress, I am facing this situation, how do you expect me to be nice to the child? I feel like giving her a whack. I can't do this. Correct. You can't do it because you're not habituated to doing it. So emotional resilience is a habit which develops over a period of time. And how does it develop? It develops by understanding the importance of it. That when I could not control my emotion, then I shouted at my child and my spouse, who suffered? Me. My whole day and my evening went bad. So, in whose interest is it for me to control my emotions? It is in my interest. It takes time, it takes effort. We slip back. I make a resolution that next time I'm going to be in control over my emotion, but it doesn't happen. I shout back. I say nasty things. Again, become aware. That's how the continuous process goes. Step by step, step by step. But one thing I can assure you is we can work on it. So, the homework I would like to leave you all with at the end of today's session is something very simple. Every now and then, just take 10 seconds off. Continue doing whatever you're doing and ask yourself two questions. What am I thinking? The answer will come to you immediately. Yes, I'm thinking that I have to attend this webinar, or after this, I have to prepare the food, or whatever is the thought in your mind, you can come out with it easily. The second question, what am I feeling? What is the emotion in my mind right now? You'll be surprised how many people cannot answer that question to themselves. And they end up by saying, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling okay. I'm fine. No. You have to learn to identify your emotion. So if 5 or 10 times in a day, you just keep doing it every now and then, whenever you remember it. Maybe put it as your screensaver on your phone or something like that. So every time you pick up your phone, it comes and you say, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Starts with something as simple as that. And then review where you could not control your emotions. Whenever an argument happens, whenever differences of opinion happen, whenever unpleasantness happens, ask yourself truthfully, what do you do after it is over? We play what we call as the blame game. I never expected this fellow to behave like this. What does he think of himself? This is how he did this. All the time we were thinking about the other person, whereas in reality, there's nothing, we can't control the other person. It is a proven fact that the only person in the whole world that you can control is your own self, provided you learn to control your emotions. Your actions automatically get it. So every time something goes wrong, every time there is an unpleasantness, review where I could have done better. Maybe I should have been more assertive. Maybe I should have avoided this. Maybe I should not have used these particular words. Maybe my tone was bad. They say some of the major wars in history started with the wrong tone of speech. One king or whatever general raised his voice and said something in a derogatory tone, and the other person took it as a personal insult. And from there, things went all the way downhill. The same thing happens even today in the working world, in the family. I don't mind my so and so saying this or correcting me or criticizing me. But the way he said it, I got very upset. Why should he have done this, said it in that tone? You can't control his tone, but you can control yours. And when you control, remember you are doing it for your own good. You're not doing charity to the other person. That's a mistake that people make. When he was nasty to me, why should I be nice to him? You don't have to be nice to him. You have to be neutral to him. You have to show the person that you're not important enough for me to waste my time getting into arguments with you. I will take action, whatever I have to. And my action will be good only if my emotions are in my control. If I've developed that emotional resilience where, regardless of what happens outside, I can manage myself. They say that you have to learn how to deal with stress without getting into distress. Stress will happen every time, it will happen. On a regular basis, it will happen. If I identify I am stressed out right now, I am likely to take actions which are impulsive. I'm likely to say things or do things which will spoil some relationship. So many people are not even aware of their stress levels. But once you become aware, then you can start reducing your stress from time to time. These are all very simple things. They are not rocket science. They are not from some philosophy, and you don't have to go to some university to learn them. All you have to do is to practice them. The more you practice, the more you gain control over yourself and your emotions, and therefore your actions. And the better is your quality of life. And when that happens, believe me, the right type of people gravitate towards you. When they see that you have, that much of peace, serenity, compassion, when they see that, the right type of people start gravitating towards you. You develop better relationships, which, as I told you, are the ultimate factor for a good quality of life. So, simple message, it's up to you what you like, what you feel convinced that, yes, this is going to help me, this is something that I should practice. Start practicing and start teaching them to your loved ones, particularly to smaller children. The earlier in the age that a child is taught emotional resilience, the easier it is for the child to develop it, practice it, and then grow up into a much better quality of life. So, with that, I will wind up. If there's any comment anybody would like to say, anything beyond that, I am open to it.
If anyone has any questions, you can write in the chat box, or you can just unmute and please ask. Thank you, Dr. Ali, for such a wonderful words. And I think the one habit we can begin it to develop emotional resilience. That is
Absolutely,
the
no doubt about it.
one resolution we can pass for this 2026.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. There are some compliments in the chat box. I'm happy. There are some thanks. I also thank you for being part of this, because this is how we can keep spreading the message, one person to one person to a few people. Let's keep doing that. Let's try to create a nice little world around us to whatever extent we can.
I think one of the parent has a question. Miss Priya Venkat, I think you have a question. You raised your hand.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So thank you very much for this beautiful session. I mean, very informative, and there's really a lot that we can take away from the session and implement for oneself.
Right.
So, being a parent of special needs children, how do we transfer these skills to our kids, where their communication may not be as effective, and
That's
they
right.
have their emotional regulation issues because of the sensory sensitivities
That's right.
and
That's right. That's
other
right.
challenges. So,
Yes.
one thing is for us to practice and kind of stabilize in ourselves,
Yes.
but we also want to carry this message to them.
Yes. That
So
happens if you are a good role model to your child. Whatever may be the limitations and the neurodiversity of the child is a keen observer, particularly of parents. So when the child sees that a parent is doing something, he automatically starts doing it. When he sees that daddy has a car and he is driving the car, he will be sitting at home holding some wheel and going on doing like this, like this. He'll keep making noises. Why is he doing it? Because he saw daddy doing it. So when he sees that somebody came and said something nasty, and daddy or mummy took it easily, calmly, it automatically starts getting ingrained in the child. I'm amazed. I see so many children who are supposedly intellectually disabled or neurodiverse or whatever it is, but the way they pick up if they have good role models. Don't give them lectures, don't tell them what to do, just do it and ask them. Of course, talking about verbal children, ask them what do they feel about it? What do they want to do about it? Like I said in the example,
sir,
how
one
do
question
you
here.
feel when
How do
Aditya took
we
away your ball?
how do we help them identify the emotions, sir?
Continuous process. Make a chart like what Kanaka showed you. There are much more detailed charts available. Download it, enlarge it, put it up, and tell them, show me what you are feeling here. Are you feeling this, which is sad? Are you feeling this, which is angry? Give them the vocabulary to learn more and more about emotions, to identify between different emotions, to express different emotions in whatever way they are capable of doing. The more a special child brings out his emotions, the less is his frustration with regard to what's happening around the world. So many children who, according to the elders, are indisciplined and do things which they are not supposed to do, it is only a frustration because they could not express their emotions. They could not bring out the fact that I am disappointed with this, I am angry with that, I'm irritated with that. The more they can come out with their emotions and feelings, the less will be their unwanted behavior. Right?
But like you said that as the adult, we have to identify our emotions first. Like you
Yes.
said, we just give rote responses like, "How are you doing?" "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
That's
good."
right.
Or you ask the question back, "How are
That's
you
right.
feeling?"
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I think the identification and the self-work first, and then
Yes.
it transfers to the other
Absolutely.
person.
Absolutely. Ms.
Beautiful, sir.
Satyapriya says that, how can we encourage adolescents to pause and reflect before reacting emotionally? Reward the child when he pauses and responds. Ignore the child when he reacts in a negative manner. Carrot and stick. Keep doing it on a regular basis. Somewhere it slowly filters down into the child's mind. Even with adolescents, it can be done. It's a little more difficult than with smaller children, but no harm, we can still do it. Okay, so with that, I think we've run out of time. Allow us to close the session. Dr. Rita, anything else you would like to
No, we
say as
just,
concluding
you can
remarks?
close it, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Ali, for this wonderful session. Definitely, this has given us meaningful takeaways, which we can apply both in our personal lives and also help us to support our children effectively. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and effort. And also, I would like to thank each and every participant who has taken their time today to be part of
Yes.
this session.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you, doctor.
Mm.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Yeah.